Interstate 10 is the southernmost cross-country interstate highway in the American Interstate Highway System. It stretches from the Pacific Ocean at State Route 1 in Santa Monica, California, to I-95 in Jacksonville, Florida. This freeway is part of the originally planned interstate highway network that was laid out in 1956, and its last section was completed in 1990. I-10 is the fourth longest interstate highway in the United States, following I-90, I-80, and I-40. About one-third of its length is within the state of Texas, where the freeway spans the state at its widest breadth. Route description: California. Between its west terminus in Santa Monica, California, and the major East Los Angeles interchange, I-10 is known as the Santa Monica Freeway. The Santa Monica Freeway is also called the Rosa Parks Freeway for the segment beginning at I-405 and ending at I-110, State Route 110. The segment between the East Los Angeles interchange and the city of San Bernardino, 63 miles long, is called the San Bernardino Freeway. Other names exist for I-10. For example, a sign near the western terminus of the highway in Santa Monica proclaims this highway the Christopher Columbus Transcontinental Highway. I-10 is known to a considerably lesser degree as the Veterans Memorial Highway, and it is listed as a Blue Star Memorial Highway. In Palm Springs, I-10 is also named the Sonny Bono Memorial Freeway as a tribute to the late entertainer who served both as the mayor and as a U.S. congressman. Another stretch a short distance east in Indio is proclaimed the Dr. June McCarroll Memorial Freeway, Arizona. In Arizona, the highway is designated the Pearl Harbor Memorial Highway. The portion through Phoenix is named the Papago Freeway, and it is a vital piece of the metropolitan Phoenix freeway system. This designation starts at Loop 101, near 99th Avenue, and it continues eastward to the interchange southeast of downtown, which is the terminus of I-17. For the southern terminus of I-17 to the southernmost junction with Loop 202, the highway is signed as the Maricopa Freeway. This name holds true as well for I-17 from its southern terminus to the Durango curve south of Buckeye Road. From Loop 202 south to the eastern terminus of I-8 just southeast of Casa Grande, the highway is declared the Pearl Harbor Memorial Highway. The Arizona Department of Transportation also has maps that show it as the Maricopa Freeway, while the American Automobile Association and other sources show it as the Pima Freeway. The latter's name is used on a stretch of Loop 101 from Loop 202 to I-17. Between I-17 in Phoenix and the I-19 interchanges in Tucson, I-10 is included in the federally designated CANAMEX corridor, extending from Mexico City to Edmonton, Alberta. In Tucson, Arizona, between I-10 mileposts 259 and 260 are interchange ramps connecting I-10 with the northern terminus of I-19. The highest elevation along I-10 occurs just east of Tucson, 20 miles west of Wilcox. At the mile marker 320 exit for the Amerind Foundation and Museum. The westbound lanes of I-10 briefly cross above 5,000 feet above sea level. New Mexico I-10 in New Mexico more or less follows the former path of U.S. Route 80 across the state, although major portions of old US 80 were bypassed in western New Mexico's Bootheel and Indiana County. I-10 passes through three southern New Mexico municipalities of regional significance before the junction with I-25, Lordsburg, Deming, and Las Cruces. Most of I-10 in New Mexico, between exit 24 and exit 135, is concurrent with US 70. At Lordsburg is the western junction of US 70 and concurrency. The two highways are joined all the way to Las Cruces. Several exits between Lordsburg and Deming are either for former towns or lack any town at all. At Deming is the western junction of US 180, which also forms a concurrency with I-10 all the way to El Paso. 1 mile north of Deming on US 180 is New Mexico State Road 26, which serves as a shortcut to North I-25 and Albuquerque. I-10, US 70, US 180 continue east to Las Cruces, which is the southern end of I-25. US 70 leaves I-10, heading northeast to Alamo Gordo, passing through the north side of Las Cruces. The junction with I-25 occurs just south of the New Mexico State University campus on the southern end of Las Cruces. I-10, US 180 becomes concurrent with US 85 at the junction with I-25. I-10, US 85, US 180 then turns south to the Texas state line, crossing it at Anthony, Texas from the state line with New Mexico to State Highway 20 in West El Paso. I-10 is bordered by frontage roads: South Desert 4 lanes along I-10 east and North Desert 4 lanes along I-10 west. The interstate then has no frontage roads for 9 miles but regains them east of downtown and retains them to Clint. In this stretch, the frontage roads are Gateway East for the eastbound lanes and Gateway West for the westbound lanes. All 4 frontage roads are one-way streets. Gateway East and Gateway West are notable, in particular, for TxDOT's liberal usage of the Texas U-turn at most underpasses of I-10 on this stretch. A small portion of I-10 from Loop 1604 to downtown San Antonio is known as the Northwest Expressway of the McDermott Freeway, while another portion from downtown to Loop 1604 east is called the East Expressway or Jose Lopez Freeway. In Houston, from the western suburb of Katy to downtown, I-10 is commonly known as the Katy Freeway. This section has as many as 26 lanes and is one of the widest freeways in the world. The space for the expansion was the right-of-way of the old Missouri-Kansas-Texas Railroad. The section east of downtown Houston is officially known as the East Freeway, although it is widely known by locals as the Baytown East Freeway due to a marketing push by Baytown, one of the largest cities in the greater Houston area. In Beaumont, it is known as I-10 South, south of Calder Avenue, and I-10 North, north of Calder Avenue. It is known as I-10 East from the I-10 curve to the Neches River, which is Beaumont's and Jefferson County's eastern boundary line. Orange County is on the other side, continuing into Orange County and passing through the city of Orange at the easternmost end of Texas, and located at the base of the Sabine River Bridge is the last I-10-mile marker in Texas, number 880, before entering into Louisiana. In Louisiana, an 18-mile stretch of elevated highway between Lafayette and Baton Rouge is known as the Atchafalaya Swamp Freeway, as it goes over the Atchafalaya River, across the Atchafalaya Basin Bridge, and the adjacent swamps. It crosses the Mississippi River at the Horace Wilkinson Bridge. In Lake Charles, a 13-mile loop route signed as I-210 branches off of I-10 and goes through the southern portion of the city. I-12 links Baton Rouge to Slidell and bypasses I-10's southward jog through New Orleans by remaining north of Lake Pontchartrain. In New Orleans, a stretch of I-10 from the I-10, I-610 junction near the Orleans-Jefferson Parish line to the US 90, U.S. Route 90 business junction is known as the Pontchartrain Expressway. A dip near the I-10, I-610 junction, to travel under a railroad track, is one of the lowest points in New Orleans, and is highly susceptible to flooding. Pictures of water dozens of feet deep during Hurricane Katrina are commonplace. Near Slidell, the final stretch of I-10 through the Mississippi state line is known as the Stephen Ambrose Memorial Highway. I-310 and I-510 are parts of what was slated to be I-410 and act as a southern bypass of New Orleans. I-610 is a shortcut from the eastern to western portion of New Orleans, avoiding I-10's detour into New Orleans' central business district. Mississippi I-10 in Mississippi runs from the Louisiana state line to the Alabama state line through Hancock, Harrison and Jackson counties on the Gulf Coast. It passes through the northern sections of Gulfport and Biloxi while passing just north of Pascagoula and Bay Street. Louis. It also passes right south of the NASA Stennis Space Center. The highway roughly parallels US 90. The law defining the route of I-10 is Mississippi Code Section 3 of March 65. Alabama I-10 crosses over the border from Jackson County, Mississippi, and it goes through Mobile County in southwestern Alabama. In Mobile, I-10 is the southern terminus of I-65. In downtown Mobile, I-10 goes through one of the few highway tunnels in Alabama, the George Wallace Tunnel under the Mobile River. The speed limit of the eastbound approach is posted at 40 miles per hour because of the sharp downward curve approaching the tunnel. The highway then crosses approximately 8 miles of the upper part of Mobile Bay on the Jubilee Parkway, a bridge that local people call the Bayway. The highway is next to Battleship Parkway. On the other side of Mobile Bay, the highway goes through the suburban area of Baldwin County before passing through Malbus, Loxley, and then on to the Perdido River to cross over it into Florida. Most of I-10 in Florida travels through some of the least populated areas in the state. Much of I-10 west of I-295 in Jacksonville has only 4 lanes. In Pensacola, a stretch of about 3 miles long of I-10 was widened to 6 lanes in 2008. In Tallahassee, construction was completed in June 2009 on a project to widen an about 8-mile stretch of I-10 to 6 lanes. In Jacksonville, as in Arizona, I-10 is designated as the Pearl Harbor Memorial Highway. Throughout much of Florida, I-10 is also State Road 8, though it is not signed as such. As far back as the 1990s, Florida and Alabama have considered a connector that would link Dothan, Alabama, with I-10. In 2008, a proposal to make this new highway a toll road and to expedite its construction to complete it in 5 years surfaced. In 2012, federal funds previously set aside for the connector were allocated to other projects. In 2014, Florida sought bids for a feasibility study. History. In Tucson, Arizona, all exits between Prince Road and 22nd Street are being reopened after an extensive 3-year improvement project. I-10 has been being widened from 6 to 8 lanes, and 7 bridges and underpasses have been built to deal with congestion. Plans are also underway to widen I-10 from Marana north to the I-8 interchange at Casa Grande from 4 lanes to 6 lanes starting in the later half of 2007 and continuing into 2008 and 2009. Texas formerly shared the highest speed limit in the nation with Utah's test section of I-15. The speed limit along I-10 from Kerr County to El Paso County was raised by the Texas legislature to 75 miles per hour in 1999 and to 80 miles per hour in 2006. However, The nighttime maximum speed limit remained 65 miles per hour, and the daytime truck speed limit was 70 miles per hour. With 70,000 miles of highway in Texas, the 432-mile stretch of I-10, and 89 miles of I-20, between Monahans and the I-10 interchange at the cusp of the Davis Mountains, only a small percentage of roads were affected. On September 1, 2011, nighttime speed limits were eliminated, and the statutory maximum speed limit in Texas was increased from 80 to 85 miles per hour. Junction list: California State Route 1 in Santa Monica, I-405 on the Mar Vista Palms West Los Angeles neighborhood line, I-110 on the South Los Angeles Central Los Angeles line, I-5 in Boyle Heights. The highways travel concurrently through Boyle Heights. I-710 on the Monterey Park Alhambra City line, I-605 in Baldwin Park, State Route 57, State Route 71 in Pomona, I-15 in Ontario, I-215 in Colton, State Route 60 near Beaumont, State Route 86 in Indio, US 95 in Blythe. The highways travel concurrently to Quartzsite, Arizona, US 95 in Quartzsite, US 60 southwest of Brenda, State Route 101 near Glendale, I-17, US 60 in Phoenix, State Route 202, State Route 51 in Phoenix, I-17, US 60 in Phoenix, I-10, US 60 travels concurrently to Tempe, State Route 202 in Chandler, I-8 in Casa Grande, I-19 in Tucson, US 191 northwest of Cochise. The highways travel concurrently at northeast of Wilcox, New Mexico, US 70 in Lordsburg. The highways travel concurrently to Las Cruces, US 180 in Deming. The highways travel concurrently to El Paso, Texas. I-25, US 85 on the Las Cruces University Park line. I-10, US 85 travels concurrently to El Paso, Texas. Texas I-110, US 54 in El Paso, US 62, US 180 in El Paso, US 90 in Van Horn, I-20 east-northeast of Kent, US 67 west of Fort Stockton. The highways travel concurrently to east-southeast of Fort Stockton. US 285 in Fort Stockton, US 385 in Fort Stockton. The highways travel concurrently to east-southeast of Fort Stockton. US 190 west-southwest of Iran, US 277 in Sonora, US 83, US 377 in Junction. I-10, US 83 travels concurrently to north of Segovia. US 290 northwest of Mountain Home, US 87 in Comfort. The highways travel concurrently to San Antonio. I-410 in San Antonio, I-35 in San Antonio. The highways travel concurrently through San Antonio. I-35, US 90 in San Antonio. I-10, US 90 travels concurrently to west-southwest of Seguin. I-37, US 281 in San Antonio. I-410 in San Antonio, US 90 in Seguin, US 183 in Luling, US 90 east of Ltljltlj, US 77 in Schulenburg, US 90 east-northeast of Schulenburg, US 90 west-southwest of Glidden, US 90 east of Columbus. The highways travel concurrently to Sealy, US 90 in Sealy. The highways travel concurrently to west-southwest of Brookshire, US 90 in Katy. The highways travel concurrently to Houston, I-610 in Houston, I-45 in Houston. The highways travel concurrently, but on different lanes, through Houston. I-69, US 59 in Houston, I-610, US 90 in Houston, US 69, US 96, US 287 in Beaumont. The highways travel concurrently through Beaumont, US 90 in Beaumont, US 90 in Beaumont. The highways travel concurrently to Toomey, Louisiana, I-210 east of Sulphur, US 90 west-southwest of Westlake. The highways travel concurrently to Lake Charles, US 171 in Lake Charles, I-210 east-northeast of Lake Charles, US 165 east-northeast of Iowa, I-49, US 167 in Lafayette, I-110 in Baton Rouge, I-12 in Baton Rouge, US 61 southeast of Sorrento, US 51 in LaPlace, I-55 in LaPlace, I-310 west of Glen, I-610 in New Orleans, US 61 in New Orleans, US 90 in New Orleans, I-610 in New Orleans, US 90 in New Orleans, I-510 in New Orleans, US 11 in New Orleans, US 190 in Slidell, I-12, I-59 in Slidell, Mississippi, US 49 in Gulfport, I-110 in D'Iberville, Alabama, US 90 on the Theodore Tillman's Corner Line, I-65 in Mobile, US 90, US 98 in Mobile, US 90, US 98 east of Mobile, US 90, US 98 in Daphne, Florida, US 29 on the Brent-Ensley CDP line, I-110 on the Brent-Ensley Ferry Pass CDP line, US 90 in Ferry Pass, US 331 in Defuniak Springs, US 231 south of Cottondale, US 90 in Midway, US 27 in Tallahassee, US 319 in Tallahassee, US 90 in Tallahassee, US 19 north-northeast of Caps, US 221 south-southeast of Greenville, US 90 southeast of Falmouth, US 129 north-northeast of Live Oak, I-75 south of White Springs, US 41 northwest of Five Points, US 441 in Lake City, US 90 southwest of Sanderson, US 301 south-southwest of Baldwin, I-295 in Jacksonville, US 17 in Jacksonville. The highways travel concurrently through Jacksonville, I-95, US 17 in Jacksonville. Auxiliary routes: Los Angeles, California, I-110, I-210, I-710. San Bernardino, California, I-210. El Paso, Texas, I-110. San Antonio, Texas, I-410. Houston, Texas, I-610. Lake Charles, Louisiana, I-210. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I-110. New Orleans, Louisiana, I-310. I-510, I-610, I-910. Biloxi, Mississippi, I-110. Pensacola, Florida,